Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, let me ask you this. Have you ever been wronged, betrayed, or left heartbroken by someone you trusted? Have you ever found yourself crying yourself to sleep, wondering why God allowed them to walk all over you, disrespect you, or hurt you, when all you ever did was love them? I understand that pain. I know the burning fire inside when you've been mistreated, taken for granted, or when your kindness was mistaken for weakness. But listen to me carefully. God is not blind to your suffering. He has seen every tear, heard every cry, and He is working in ways you can't even see. Sometimes we want revenge or justice immediately, but the Bible tells us, "Vengeance is mine," says the Lord. That means it's not your battle, it's His. And let me tell you, when God intervenes, He acts in ways that shake the very foundation of those who tried to break you. Now, listen closely, because here are 7 undeniable signs that God is already taking care of those who hurt you. Sign number 1, their peace begins to crumble. There is something guilt is something no one can escape. It doesn't matter how much someone smiles on the outside, how confident they look, or how much they act like what they did to you doesn't affect them. Deep down, their peace is falling apart. You see, when someone mistreats a child of God, they're not just hurting you, they're disrupting divine order. They're touching something sacred. God is a God of justice, and He won't let evil go unpunished. They might walk around acting like they don't care, like it was just another choice, another moment, another mistake. But deep inside, something begins to change. At first, it may not be obvious. They may even seem like they're doing just fine. They go out with their friends, laugh, post pictures, and move on as if nothing ever happened. And that's what hurts the most, doesn't it? It stings to see them going about their life as if they're unaffected, while you're left to pick up the pieces of the pain they caused. It feels like they got away with it. But let me tell you something. No one escapes the consequences of their actions, and no one can outrun the voice of their own conscience. It might take days, weeks, or even months, maybe even years. But one day, the weight of what they did will start to bear down on them. And when it does, they won't be able to shake it. At first, it will just be a fleeting thought that pops into their mind when they least expect it. A random moment, maybe in the middle of the night, or a brief flash of memory that makes them uneasy. Perhaps they'll see someone who reminds them of you, or hear a song that takes them back to the way they treated you. Maybe they'll be sitting alone, and for the first time in a long time, the noise of the world will quiet down enough for them to hear it. That's when it starts. Their peace begins to crumble. The very thing they ignored starts to whisper to them during those quiet moments. The person they hurt suddenly fills a space in their mind they can't seem to shake. They'll try to push it away. They'll tell themselves it wasn't that bad. They'll justify their actions, convincing themselves that they did what they had to, that you were the problem, that they had no other choice. But it won't work. Because when God works on someone, He doesn't just take away their material possessions, He takes their peace. He lets the weight of their own choices settle heavily on their soul. And when God places conviction on someone's heart, there's no escaping it. They may try to distract themselves for a while, bury themselves in work, relationships, parties, or anything that keeps them from thinking too much. But the mind has a way of bringing back the things we wish we could forget. No matter how hard they try to ignore it, There will always be a moment when it hits them like a wave they never saw coming. That's when the restlessness starts. They become short-tempered, irritable, unable to find joy in the things they once loved. They lose their ability to stay still, because stillness. It means silence, and silence means confronting the truth. They toss and turn at night, unable to sleep the way they used to. They wake up with this feeling that something's missing, like something's not right. And even though they may never admit it, even though they may never say it out loud, deep down they know exactly what it is. It's the weight of what they did. It's the painful truth that they hurt someone who didn't deserve it. It's the realization that what they thought was insignificant is actually something, a heavy burden,